I am a successful IT professional who recently proposed to my girlfriend Jessica after 3 wonderful years together. What should have been the happiest time of our lives quickly turned into a nightmare. My family initially seemed supportive, but then started acting strange whenever Jessica was mentioned. I found myself torn between family traditions I had respected my entire life and the woman I wanted to spend my future with. Nothing prepared me for the betrayal that tested my loyalty. Before I dive into how my own family tried to sabotage the most important relationship in my life, let me know where you are watching from, and hit that like button if family drama hits close to home. My name is Clarence. I am 32 years old and grew up in a close-knit traditional family in suburban Boston. Throughout my childhood and early adulthood, family always came first. We celebrated holidays together, attended each other's important events, and supported one another through difficulties. That foundation of family unity was something I always valued and wanted to maintain in my adult life. After graduating with my computer science degree, I worked relentlessly to climb the career ladder. Late nights, weekend projects, and constant skill development eventually paid off when I landed a senior software engineer position at TechVision, one of Boston's most respected tech firms. My family celebrated each promotion and raise as if it were their own achievement, which made the journey feel worthwhile. Jessica entered my life unexpectedly at a charity fundraiser for homeless shelters 3 years ago. She was running the event through her marketing firm, and I was there representing my company. We locked eyes across the room, and there was an immediate connection that I cannot explain. Jessica is brilliant, compassionate, and has a quiet confidence that immediately drew me in. As a marketing executive, she has built her career on understanding people, which makes her incredibly empathetic but also fiercely independent-minded. Unlike my sprawling family with countless cousins, aunts, and uncles, Jessica comes from a small family. Her parents live in Vermont, and she has one brother who works overseas. This difference never seemed important until we got serious about our relationship. Our love story developed naturally. We discovered shared values about hard work, honesty, and creating positive change in the world despite our different family backgrounds. Jessica understood my dedication to my career and supported my ambitions, while I admired her creativity and passion for helping others through her marketing campaigns for nonprofits. After 3 years together, I knew Jessica was the woman I wanted to marry. I planned a romantic dinner at Riverside Bistro, the restaurant where we had our first date. When the dessert arrived with the ring perched atop a chocolate souffle, Jessica's eyes filled with tears. Her yes was immediate and certain, making it one of the happiest moments of my life. When we announced our engagement to my family, their reaction seemed positive on the surface. My mother Martha hugged Jessica and welcomed her to the family. My father Frank shook my hand firmly with apparent pride. My sister Amanda and brother James offered congratulations and champagne toasts, but something felt off that I could not immediately identify. In the following weeks, I began noticing strange behaviors. My family has always been tight-knit with strong opinions about marriage and family life. My mother particularly held rigid views about how a proper family should function with traditions passed down through generations. My father typically followed her lead, rarely expressing contradicting opinions. My sister Amanda, 3 years younger than me, had always competed for our parents' approval. My brother James, the youngest at 27, typically aligned with whatever position gave him the most advantage. The warning signs began subtly. My mother would call and ask to meet for lunch, specifying that it should be just family. When Jessica and I visited my parents' home, conversations would sometimes halt when she entered a room. Comments about differences between our families increased, with my mother emphasizing our family traditions as superior. Jessica began mentioning her discomfort around my family. She felt they were judging her or excluding her from conversations. I regret now that I initially dismissed her concerns, chalking them up to natural adjustment periods for blending families. I assured her things would improve as everyone got to know each other better. When discussion of an engagement party began, my mother immediately took control. She insisted on handling all arrangements, saying she knew best what would honor our family name. When Jessica tried offering input about the guest list or venue, my mother would smile tightly and say, "Dear, this is how the Wilson family has always done things." As weeks passed, family meetings became increasingly secretive. My mother would text asking me to come over alone to discuss family matters. When I would bring Jessica anyway, the stated purpose of the meeting would mysteriously change. Looking back, I should have recognized the manipulation tactics immediately. Throughout my adult life, I had helped various family members financially. I paid for Amanda's car repair last year when she was between jobs. I helped James with rent when his startup was struggling. I even contributed to my parents' house renovation. They knew I earned a good salary and I never minded helping. I believed that is what family does for each other. I had no idea how that generosity would later be weaponized against me. The first concrete evidence of betrayal came when I accidentally overheard my mother on the phone with what sounded like a travel agent. I had stopped by their house to drop off some tools my father had borrowed, using my key to enter, as I always did. From the kitchen, I clearly heard my mother discussing accommodations in Bora Bora, specifically mentioning ocean views and airport transfers for 6 people. When she noticed me, she quickly ended the call. When I asked directly what she was planning, she hesitated before admitting they were organizing a special family celebration trip for my engagement. Her eyes did not meet mine as she explained. The shock hit me when I specifically asked who would be going on this trip, and my mother confirmed my suspicion: my parents, Amanda, and her husband James, and his wife, 6 people. Jessica was not included. Because, as my mother put it, this is a Wilson family tradition, to have one last family vacation before welcoming a new member. I immediately pointed out that both my siblings' spouses were included. My mother's response chilled me. "Well, they are already officially part of the family. Jessica is not yet. We need this time with just you, Clarence, to celebrate as we always have before everything changes." When I told Jessica about the planned trip that evening, the hurt in her eyes was unmistakable. She asked quietly if I was considering going on a luxury vacation that explicitly excluded her, the person I had asked to spend my life with. Putting it in those terms made the absurdity crystal clear. The pressure from my family escalated daily. My mother called every morning with reasons why this trip was essential for family unity. My father, usually passive, began leaving voicemails about respecting family traditions. Amanda texted constantly about how excited she was for our final family vacation. Even James, who rarely involved himself in family drama, started sending links to Bora Bora attractions with messages like, "This will be our last chance to do this as a family." I admit there were moments I considered going just to keep peace. The weight of family expectations had been effective my entire life. The guilt trips worked so well because they were familiar. My mother's tearful phone calls about how much she had sacrificed for me and how little she asked in return made me question my own judgment. Jessica never demanded I refuse the trip. Instead, she calmly expressed her concern about what this situation revealed about our future. "If they can exclude me now, and you accept it, what happens when we have children, when we need to decide on holidays? This is about respect, Clarence, not just a vacation." The financial aspect became the breaking point. During a family dinner, my mother presented printouts of resort packages and flight options. The total for 6 people would exceed $20,000. Then came the request that stunned me: they expected me to pay for everyone. The justification was that this was my engagement celebration, and since I had the best job in the family, it was only appropriate. I firmly refused to participate in or finance any celebration that deliberately excluded my fiancée. I explained that Jessica was going to be my wife, my partner, and excluding her was disrespectful to both of us and our relationship. The dinner devolved into emotional chaos. My mother broke into tears, claiming I had changed and no longer valued family. My typically reserved father pounded the table, his face red with anger I had rarely witnessed. Amanda accused Jessica of turning me against the family, claiming she had always known Jessica would destroy our family bonds. I walked out of that dinner feeling physically ill-torn between decades of family loyalty and the clear knowledge that what they were asking was wrong. For the first time in my life, I chose my own path rather than the one my family dictated, and while it felt right, it also felt terrifying. A week after that disastrous dinner, my family seemed to retreat. My mother called with a tearful apology, saying they would cancel the Bora Bora plans. My father came by my apartment when Jessica was at work to say they would respect my decision. This apparent reconciliation brought immense relief, though Jessica remained skeptical. Over the next few weeks, various family emergencies arose, requiring financial assistance. My mother needed dental surgery not covered by insurance. My father's car required expensive repairs. Amanda had unexpected medical bills for her son. James needed help with a housing deposit after an unexpected move. In each case, I transferred the funds they requested, grateful that we seemed to be moving past the vacation conflict. As Jessica and I began wedding planning, my family became surprisingly distant. Calls decreased, family Sunday dinners were canceled due to various conflicts, and my mother showed uncharacteristic disinterest in wedding details. I initially interpreted this as them giving us space after the conflict, perhaps even respecting our independence. Jessica suggested it might be something else, but I wanted to believe the best of my family. The unusual quiet from my typically over-involved family should have been a warning sign, but I was too relieved by the absence of conflict to question it. The truth revealed itself on an ordinary Tuesday. I was eating lunch at my desk, scrolling through Facebook during my break when I saw a photo posted by my sister Amanda. The image showed my entire family on a pristine white beach, tropical drinks in hand, with the caption, "Amazing family celebration without the drama." Wilson family tradition lives on in beautiful Bora Bora number, family first number, paradise found number, worth very penny. I stared at my screen in disbelief. There they were, my mother and father Amanda, and her husband James and his wife, all smiling in paradise. The timestamp showed they had left just 3 days after I had transferred $8,000 to cover what they claimed were critical expenses. The physical sensation was like being punched. My hands shook as I scrolled through the entire album, 23 photos documenting their luxury vacation. Beachfront bungalows, snorkeling excursions, sunset dinners, all paid for with money I had provided for supposed emergencies. I called Jessica immediately, my voice barely functioning as I explained what I had discovered. Her initial shock quickly turned to concern for me rather than anger at them. "Clarence, I am so sorry. This is beyond what even I suspected they were capable of." I spent the next hour in a daze examining every detail of their betrayal. Calls to my credit card company confirmed that the funds I had provided had been withdrawn in cash the day after transfer or used for direct payments to a travel agency. The same agency name I had heard my mother mention on the phone. My attempts to reach any family member went unanswered. Calls went straight to voicemail. Messages showed as read but received no response. I was simultaneously burning with rage and frozen with shock. The public nature of the betrayal added another layer of humiliation. Comments from family friends appeared under the photos. "Wonderful pre-wedding celebration for Clarence. And what a special family tradition before the big day." A colleague stopped by my desk that afternoon to ask why I had chosen not to join my family on their trip to celebrate my engagement. Jessica's parents called that evening after Jessica had explained the situation. Their outrage on our behalf was both validating and comforting. Her father, normally a quiet man, offered to confront my parents directly. I declined, knowing this was something I needed to handle myself. That night was one of the darkest of my life. I alternated between rage, grief, and disbelief. The people who had taught me about honesty and family loyalty had betrayed me in the most public and calculated way imaginable. Jessica held me as I processed these conflicting emotions, never once saying "I told you so," though she would have been justified. When Instagram notifications showed more vacation photos the following day, I realized they were not even attempting to hide their actions. They had collectively decided that their family tradition was more important than honesty, respect, or my relationship with Jessica. A week later, notifications on their social media accounts indicated they had returned home. I drove to my parents' house that evening, knowing they typically hosted a family dinner on Thursdays. As expected, both siblings and their spouses were present. The laughter from inside fell silent when I knocked. My mother opened the door, her tan face paling at the sight of me. No one spoke as I entered the living room, where vacation souvenirs were still scattered on the coffee table. So I said, struggling to keep my voice steady, "How were the emergency dental procedures and car repairs in Bora Bora?" The excuses and justifications poured out immediately. My mother claimed they had needed this time together. My father stared at his plate, refusing to meet my eyes. Amanda, perhaps the most shocking, showed no remorse whatsoever. "You chose her over us," my mother said, as if that explained everything. "We have done everything for you your entire life. And the one time we wanted something important for our family, you rejected us for an outsider." I demanded details of exactly how they had used my money. The $2,300 for my mother's supposed dental work had paid for snorkeling excursions. My father's car repair money covered their beachfront upgrade. Amanda's medical bills and James's housing deposit funded meals and souvenirs. They had planned it all, while pretending to accept my decision not to exclude Jessica. My brother James, who I had always considered the least invested in family drama, defended their actions most aggressively. "We were teaching you a lesson about family loyalty, Clarence. You needed to understand that turning your back on family traditions has consequences." Amanda's smug attitude was perhaps the most hurtful. "Jessica has you completely under her control," she said with a sneer. "We simply took what would have been spent on us anyway, if you had not been so selfish." My father, when finally pressed to speak, offered the weakest of justifications. "Your mother thought it was for the best. I support her decisions for this family." The final blow came when my mother issued an ultimatum regarding our upcoming wedding. "Now that you understand the importance of family traditions, we expect you to incorporate the proper Wilson family elements in your wedding. If Jessica cannot accept our ways, perhaps you need to reconsider if she is right for this family." In that moment, something broke inside me. The weight of manipulation, the years of yielding to family pressure, the betrayal of trust, all collided with my love for Jessica and the future we planned. For the first time, I saw with complete clarity the toxic patterns that had defined my family relationships my entire life. "You have made your choice abundantly clear," I said, standing to leave. "You chose a vacation over honesty. You chose manipulation over respect. You chose your control over my happiness." I walked out of my childhood home that evening, uncertain if those relationships could ever be repaired or if I even wanted them to be. The week following the confrontation was among the most difficult of my life. I cycled through depression, rage, and a profound sense of loss. The foundation of what I had believed about my family had crumbled completely. Jessica gave me space to process while making sure I knew I was not alone. She never pushed me to cut ties entirely, but supported whatever boundaries I needed to establish. My first concrete step was financial. I canceled all shared accounts, removed my parents as authorized users on my credit card, and stopped all automatic payments I had set up for various family expenses. My financial advisor helped create clear separation between my finances and my family's access. After 2 weeks of emotional turmoil, I began seeing a therapist specializing in family relationship issues. Dr. Lawson helped me understand the dynamics that had allowed this situation to develop. He explained concepts like emotional manipulation, financial abuse, and how unhealthy family systems perpetuate themselves. For the first time, I recognized patterns that had existed my entire life, but that I had been too close to see clearly. As news of the conflict spread through extended family, several cousins reached out with similar stories. My mother's brother Thomas called to express his support, sharing that he had distanced himself from the family years ago, after similar manipulative experiences. These connections helped me realize I was not alone, and that setting boundaries was sometimes necessary for emotional health. Wedding planning continued, with Jessica's family stepping up to help. Her parents, David and Helen, offered not only financial assistance but emotional support that came without strings attached. Their straightforward kindness highlighted the contrast with my own family's conditional love. 3 weeks after the confrontation, the first messages from my family arrived. My mother sent a lengthy text expressing how hurt she was by my abandonment of family values with no acknowledgement of their deception. My father called, leaving a voicemail about meeting halfway, without specifying what that meant. Amanda sent wedding magazine clippings with passive-aggressive notes about proper family involvement. With my therapist's guidance, I responded by establishing clear boundaries. I wrote a detailed email to everyone involved, explaining exactly why their actions had damaged our relationship and what would need to change for us to move forward. I specified that genuine apologies acknowledging the specific harm done would be the minimum requirement. Jessica and I modified our wedding plans, opting for a smaller, more intimate ceremony with only genuinely supportive people present. We created a guest list based on one simple criterion: would this person respect our relationship and our choices? Many extended family members and friends made the cut, while those who had participated in the Bora Bora deception did not. Over the following months, family members responded differently to my boundaries. James was the first to offer a genuine apology, admitting he had known the plan was wrong, but had gone along with it out of habit. After several honest conversations, we began rebuilding our relationship. My father eventually acknowledged his passive role in enabling the deception, though he struggled to take full responsibility. Amanda remained defensive, insisting I was overreacting to what she called just a family trip. My mother's response was the most complex. 6 weeks before the wedding, she arrived at my apartment, unannounced, tears streaming as she begged to be included in the ceremony. Her apology focused more on her pain than mine. "I never thought you would really exclude your own mother from your wedding day. We made a mistake, but family should forgive." When pressed about the specific betrayal regarding the money and lies, she deflected, saying, "We only used the money for what it was always intended, for a family celebration." After much consideration and counseling, I offered my parents conditional inclusion in the wedding. They could attend as guests, not as traditional hosts, and there would be no mother, son, dance, or other traditional roles that typically would have been expected. My mother initially refused these terms, but eventually accepted as the wedding date approached. Our wedding day was beautiful despite the family complications. Jessica looked radiant, and the smaller gathering created an atmosphere of genuine celebration rather than obligatory tradition. My brother James stood beside me as my best man, having earned back my trust through consistent respect for my boundaries. My parents attended, subdued but present. Amanda declined our invitation, sending a gift with a note that read, "When you are ready to be part of this family again on its actual terms, let us know." In the years since our wedding, Jessica has shown me what unconditional support truly means. Her influence has strengthened my ability to recognize manipulation and set healthy boundaries. She never demanded I cut contact with my family, but supported me in requiring respectful treatment. My relationship with various family members has found different equilibriums. James and I speak regularly, having established a more honest adult relationship. My father calls weekly, our conversations careful but gradually warming. My mother fluctuates between acceptance of the new boundaries and attempts to re-establish old patterns, requiring ongoing vigilance on my part. Amanda and I exchange birthday and holiday messages, but little more. The healing process continues with both progress and setbacks. I have learned that family relationships require both love and respect. Traditions have value when they bring joy and unity, not when they become weapons of control. Most importantly, I have learned that sometimes the greatest act of love is establishing boundaries that protect your well-being and the health of your primary relationship. Looking toward the future, Jessica and I are discussing starting our own family next year. We are committed to creating a home where love is expressed through respect and support, not manipulation and control. We plan to incorporate the best traditions from both our families, while establishing new ones that reflect our values of honesty and mutual respect. Have you ever had to choose between family expectations and your own relationship? What boundaries have you found necessary to protect your most important connections? Share your experience in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories about navigating difficult family dynamics. Remember that sometimes the family we choose is as important as the family we are born into. Thank you for listening to my journey, and I wish you strength in your own path toward healthy relationships.